Hello and welcome. So this video I'm going to talk about is potential short squeeze, and it is the Reliance ticker symbol RELI. And I'm going to talk about my personal opinion on whether it's already squeezed or it still has some potential left. And since we're just talking about short squeeze play, I'm not going to dig deep into the company to their financial or what they do. And for disclosure, I have bought Reliance on December 31st at 6:44 and I have sold it on this January 4th at 9:32. And I have sold out my costs, so right now I'm just leaving my profit there to run. And if you're interested in the short rates or short interest, you can Google it. There are people trading it like pretty much every day. You can see it's high up there. I mean, it's not as high as GME back then, but if you're looking at the eyeball, this data is only from Interactive Broker. So the interest fee, not the interest rate, the interest fee is the cost to borrow the shares. Is right up on the 200%, and there's only 15,000 of 250,000 shares available to short. So just by Interactive Broker alone, they need to cover 235,000 shares. So the 235,000 shares is about like 2% of the shares outflow. But then this is only from Interactive Brokers. If you add every broker out there, you might get a higher percentage of short ratio. But regardless, I would say this is a pretty high short ratio stock. And usually when I'm looking at a potential short squeeze, I would first look at how many back holders I might be facing against, because the back holders will be creating a lot of selling pressure. So if we zoom out of the chart, you can see the price in 2020 go as high as $83, but it's before the reverse split, so this is more of like $1 back then. And the data before the reverse split might not be accurate in ratio, so I'm not going to look at anything before that. So let's look at after the merger. So on the first day after the reverse split, it go as low as $5.2 and to as high as 9.7 cents. And since then, the stock has pretty much been dropping until it reached the lowest of 2.8. And then here on May 13th, you see a huge spike of volume. And the stock went from $3 to 4.6, which is a 50% increase. And you can see the volume is just going crazy. So everybody that is above this price are the back holders. And since the volume here is about 45 million, so that's kind of like fourfold of the standing out share of 10 mil. So I would say people who were back holdings or people who wanted to cut loss would have done so by here, like a majority of them. So our new back holders are people who are holding from this range, which is between $3 and $4.5. And again, the stock has been dropping from 4.6, the highest 4.6 to the lowest of 1.8. And then recently it has a major squeeze from 2.9 to as high as 8.25, and the volume is 68 million. And because of the volume that we have in May, November, and that little volume in March, I would say all the back holders from previous were pretty much gone. So right now we're pretty much looking at the shareholders who have purchased mainly starting from this range. So if it does pop up, then there won't be as much selling pressure from back holders. It'll pretty much be FOMO. So in terms of squeeze play, that's one of the good signs. And here you see me draw a few lines. And in a meme stock, I find it better to look at it in hours chart instead of day chart, because things are happening so fast. You can get up or down 20% within a day. So let's take a look in the hour chart. And sometimes when I do analysis, I don't really look at the pattern. You would want to try to think of it as a people's behavior, because that's what charting is, right? It's what people did in that hour and etc. So in here you can see the stock the first time it pops up and then kind of drop here, and then there's a retest of the resistance. And I usually drew the line at where the candle closes instead of the wick, and I would treat this wick as a false pop-up or a false breakout. And if you remember, I purchased Reliance on September 31st, so around here at this time before market close. The reason why I'm buying it in here is because the time that it took people to want to reach the resistance gets shortened by the third time. And also it's kind of sitting on the uptrend that I have drew starting from here. You see every time it touches the trend line, you kind of want to retest it resistant. And it's usually a good sign that people are willing to go for it. And by the time it came here, I thought it's going to touch the resistance for the fourth time and then did a little circle before it breaks out. So that's why I'm buying it in here. But then the day after, it kind of dropped a little bit. But if I buy it in here, I usually would set a stop loss at the previous low, which is about $6. So in my case, I was willing to risk 40 cents a share for a potential breakout. And you can see 2 days later, it did break the resistance. And because of the volume was a big green volume, so I waited. And the red candle doesn't have that much volume, so I was waiting for the next big candle to sell my position, and which happened in January 4th. So I sold my stuff around somewhere around here at 9.3, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 9.32 on the 4th. So I sold it somewhere in here. Sorry. And since right now I'm leaving most of my profit in place, so even if it drops to zero, I will not lose anything. So it is, for me right now, it's a 100% win play. But for some of you who haven't entered it yet, here's what I'm going to think it will happen. So after the top, you see that it fall quite finally and it broke the support. The previous resistance will now become a support, and it kind of get to low on about $6 before going up. And then after it reached here, I drew a downtrend line, and it kind of getting rejected here also. So in the next day or two, I am suspecting it might consolidate in here before it break up or down. So if you want to enter Reliance, it might be good to open position at around 7.5 at the support line and then see if it goes up or down. And if it does go down, it's a high possibility to close the gap in here, which is at 6.1. So prepare that it might drop here, and if it drop anything below, I will set my cut loss afterward. But if it does break up after the consolidation, I would say it will hit about 10.4 again to get a double top, and mostly to get rejected by then. But if you're looking for a big squeeze target, and I have found a few ways to get an estimate. So first thing to look at is the market cap. I know some of you may be saying that if they have to cover the short, the market cap doesn't matter and etc. But there's only so much money that you can put in a stock to bump up the share price. So yeah. So let's look at GME, and so let's look at GameStop, the mother of all squeeze. So in January 28th, it reaches the highs of $683, and back then it only had about 70 million, so it works out to about 33 billion in market cap. After GME, the next big thing is AMC, and on June 2nd, it gone up to $72.62, and if you work out the share outflow back then, it works out about 33 billion. So it's very similar to GameStop, but again, these two are the most popular squeeze stock back then. So the stock afterward, they never reached that high in market cap. So the next thing we're looking at is BBIG. So share price times the number of out shares, so you get 800 million. And remember Mark Monday, it kind of only bump up in the pre-market, and as soon as the market opens, it just falls straight down. But anyways, if you're using the highest point, it's about 600 mil, and then you get Prone, which is the best one of those three, with a billion. But as you can see, from time to time, the market cap squeeze is getting less and less as people money has been investing everywhere. So if you look at Reliance, the share out is only 10 mil. And if we're just looking at 500 mil cap, that will put a share price of $50 to Reliance. But there's a very aggressive target. Then sometimes I like to use Fibonacci retractions to get an estimate. So if you're being aggressive and say the top candle here is only at the 78% range, then the potential top will be around $36. So it will put the market cap at around 360-ish million, which is right on track with like Mark and BBIG and those stock. But if you play super safe and the resistance line that you put it at 50%, then you will get a target of $13, which if this breaks out and then kind of find support in the resistance zone and then shoot up, that's where the target might be. So this is also why I'm leaving my profit to 1, so I really care less about what it's doing right now. So if it passes 13, then I would say we can look at 37 as a very aggressive target, but anything after 13 I would say is a good sell. So to recap, Reliance doesn't really have a lot of backholders, so there's no selling pressure, which is good for a stock that is going up. And the short ratio, short interest are high up there. The share outflow is only 10 million share, which is extremely low. And the target and the short switch target that I'm giving off is 13 is a high possibility, and then an aggressive one would be around 37. So yeah, this is all I wanted to share, and please like and subscribe, comments if you like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.